Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Wednesday, April 1st. We have all you need to know about a new Pennsylvania Turnpike initiative, as well as the latest on a deadly house fire in Spring Township.
We also have more on a mandated legal improvements to a major immigration detention center, along with sports, entertainment, weather, and an interview. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Reehl.
And I'm Jennae Overton. Spring has officially started, prompting some lawn care reminders from the State College Borough. Spring leaf collection began Monday and will repeat once a week through May 7th. Residents should place their unbagged leaves at the curb, leaves that should be kept separate from loose sticks and trash cans. The borough also mandates that grass and weeds be kept below 6 inches. Enforcement for that will continue through October. The fine is $50.
2 people are dead after a house fire in Spring Township on Saturday morning. First responders worked to control the blaze and search the home, finding a man and a woman deceased. The Center County Coroner's Office says both victims died from smoke inhalation. Their identities have not yet been released, pending DNA analysis, which could take several weeks. Multiple fire companies responded to the scene, and nearby roads were temporarily closed as crews worked to contain the blaze. The cause of the fire remains under investigation.
A Chester County man is facing charges for allegedly entering a home, stealing alcohol, and later hitting an EMT. 22-year-old Manuel De Leon Garcia is facing 3 felonies and 4 misdemeanors. Police say De Leon Garcia was spotted entering a home unwelcomed, then leaving with a bottle of vodka and an 8-pack of vodka lemonades. An hour later, De Leon Garcia was found unconscious on the street, where he struck an EMT and a doctor who were treating him in an ambulance. He's been charged with aggravated assault, burglary, and more.
Pennsylvania State Police and the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission are launching a new statewide enforcement initiative targeting aggressive driving and unpaid tolls. Starting today, troopers will crack down on drivers with suspended registrations linked to unpaid toll fees, with some facing tickets, fines, or even vehicle impoundments. Officials say drivers can have their registration suspended if they owe at least $250 in tolls and fees or have 4 unpaid toll-by-plea invoices. What kind of weather can students expect for this week? Student meteorologist Jonathan Domo is live in the studio with this week's forecast. Jonathan.
Thanks, Lauren, and happy April Fool's Day. I can assure you that these temperatures on the forecam are no joke. Right now in State College, it's 52 degrees, but I want to direct your attention to the top right. In Harrisburg, it's 74 degrees, and in Erie, it is 35 degrees. That is a huge temperature gradient, and even higher than that, the high temperature in Philadelphia today was in the mid-80s. That is almost 50 degrees higher than the high temperature in Erie, Pennsylvania today. And in fact, if we look at this 24-hour temperature change map right now, we can see we're 22 degrees under here in State College where we were 24 hours ago. Right now, it is 0 in Philadelphia. They are pretty much on track to have the exact same temperature day that they had yesterday through the end of today. And Erie right now is 25 degrees under, but earlier today, that number was as high as 40 degrees lower than where they were 24 hours ago. And part of the reason why that temperature is so low in contrast to what we were looking at in the southeastern portion is this influx of rain. This rain is going to cool down the temperature, and the forcing mechanism is a cold front moving through that is bringing cold air. In fact, it is so cold in some parts of this system right here. As you can see, it is falling as snow in parts of southern Canada and parts of western New York. So it's just been an all-around chilly day in the northwest portion of the Commonwealth. Now, if we take a look at what the SBC put out for today, day in terms of thunderstorm risk, you can see that there is a risk of thunderstorms here in Center County. We're not actually in any risk on the 1 to 5 scale. Right now, it's just the risk of thunderstorms. That higher risk is more south here, south of Harrisburg. That is a 2 out of 5. And you might hear some rumbles of thunder today here in State College, but damaging winds and hail will avoid us for the most part. Here's what we're looking at on Thursday right now. It's a 3 out of 5 in the Chicago metropolitan area. And once again, central Pennsylvania is in that essentially a 0 out of 5. It's really just a risk of some rumbles of thunder and some lightning. Now, for Friday, this is where things get interesting. This is day 3 for the Storm Prediction Center's outlook, and they issued a 3 out of 5 here in parts of southern Iowa and northern Missouri. That's relatively rare for the SPC to do that, to put such a high risk so far out. They are pretty confident of damaging storms. That's going to be hail, tornadoes, and hail that is going to damage property and potentially threaten life out there. So unfortunately, it's not going to affect Pennsylvania here. Fortunately, rather, it's not going to affect Pennsylvania here. But if you know anybody out that way, please keep them in mind. Looking ahead towards the end of tonight, you can see these storms that are moving through are actually what canceled Penn State baseball game here and the beloved Dollar Dog Night. You can see that those storms are starting to make their way towards the end of the evening. They're starting to make their way towards central Pennsylvania, and they're going to exit out in the northeast right here towards the Endless Mountains and parts of the Poconos. And as we turn the page on Wednesday into Thursday, we'll get a brief respite of rain. Unfortunately, those clouds are here to stay, and when you walk out the door around 9 a.m. tomorrow, expect full cloud cover in the sky, but at least it'll be dry for the time being. But as Thursday moves through, there'll be some isolated showers and some isolated thunderstorm activity, mostly south of Harrisburg, not really going to impact us here in the Commonwealth. And then as we turn the page on Thursday into Friday, that is when we're going to start to see the precipitation move more north of us. And I want to take a jump forward towards this weekend right now. This is the end of the day on Saturday. Saturday is going to be, for the most part, unaffected by precipitation, but you can see here this uniform line of precipitation pushing through. That's because a cold front is going to make its way across from the Midwest here to the Commonwealth. That's going to bring heavy rain, and it's going to bring cooler temperatures because it is a cold front. And by the time we reach Monday, most of that precipitation is going to have pushed out well east of us towards the Atlantic. However, there might be some flakes of snow falling in parts of central and western New York. Now, I want to take a look at the temperature trend, really to just give you a picture of what you can expect for the end of this week and this weekend. We're going to be tomorrow in the mid 50s. However, on Friday, we're going to jump back up into the mid 70s before we even take a shot at 80. Right now, the temperature trend has us at 78. I would not be surprised if our actual temperature is well into the 80s. However, you can see the effect that that cold front is going to have for the end of the weekend. We're going to drop down to below 60 at around 57 on Sunday, and by Monday, we'll be back down into the low 50s at 51. Here is the forecast a little bit closer to now. Tonight's forecast has 45 degrees for us, some rain early tomorrow morning, late tonight. It's really going to be a scattered mess of precipitation. The winds are going to be moderate, coming out of the northeast at 13 miles per hour. And here's your forecast for tomorrow. It's going to be a little bit higher than tonight's low, 56 degrees, cloudy with the chance of precipitation sitting at around 25%. And here's a look at the 7-day forecast. You can see that temperature trend that I mentioned here. We're sitting at 79 forecasted for Saturday, but again, I would not be surprised if that reaches 80 or above. That's also going to be when the bulk of the rain moves through Saturday evening into Sunday morning, and the temperature will take a nosedive and will start next week partly cloudy, steadily climbing back up to the 50s. Lauren?
Thanks, Jonathan. Now over to Jenna with the latest in sports.
Thanks, Lauren. I'm Jenna Wisman with your sports update. Basketball and Nittany Lion fans were excited when former WNBA head coach and 4-year Penn State letter winner Tanisha Wright was announced to be the new head coach for Penn State women's basketball just a couple weeks ago. But the excitement does not stop there. Earlier today, Wright announced that Lady Lion legend Kelly Mazzante is joining her staff as an assistant coach. Mazzante, the all-time leading scorer at Penn State and 4th all-time in the Big Ten, men's or women's, returns with 12 years of collegiate coaching experience. Wright and Mazzante played 3 seasons together for the Nittany Lions from 2001 to 2004. Some exciting news in the world of women's college volleyball. To highlight the Big Ten SEC Volleyball Challenge Week, the week will conclude a doubleheader at Wrigley Field on September 6th. The home of the Chicago Cubs will host its first ever volleyball games when Nebraska comes in to play Missouri, and our very own Nittany Lions take on Kentucky. Games are scheduled for 7 and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, but the order has not yet been decided. Both outdoor matches will be broadcasted live on Fox, and all other matchups between the Big Ten and SEC will be played as normal. Speaking of baseball fields, few people enjoyed a night at the ballpark more than Penn State students last Tuesday. Our very own Aaron Riley is in the studio with more.
Thanks, Jenna. Penn State baseball hosted their first Dollar Dog Night of the season, and I had the opportunity to check out the atmosphere. Let's take a look. March 24th marked the first annual Dollar Dog Night of the 2026 baseball season. The game kicked off at 5:30 against St. Bonaventure, and as the temperature dropped fast, fan Sydney Angel talks about the importance of fan attendance on a game like tonight.
I mean, of course, it's freezing, but why not show up for Penn State baseball, especially for Dollar Dogs? I brought a blanket. That's all I need. And we're out here supporting, having fun.
Fans were limited to purchasing 9 hot dogs at a time from the Flashpoint Grill concession stands, and the line stayed packed consistently.
There was over 6,000 hot dogs that were sold in tonight's stadium and over 2,000 people in attendance. So on average, people ate around 3 hot dogs per person. Now that is a lot of hot dogs sold.
Oh boy, I had 9 tonight. Just like 4 or 5. Probably getting to like the 30s, maybe the 40s.
Head coach Gambino encouraged the atmosphere at tonight's game.
People want to come play here and play in front of these fans. It is program changing.
With the support of the newly founded student section and the Dollar Dog Night culture, fans were in attendance from sun up to sundown supporting the team. Themed nights not only encourage student attendance, but fuel a culture the team can run on for the rest of the season. Penn State went on to defeat St. Bonaventure 8-6, bouncing back after a slow couple of innings, with their next Dollar Dog Night being against UCF right now. Tonight's matchup against UCF was canceled due to weather, and subsequently, so was Dollar Dog Night. It is unclear if the event will be rescheduled. Back to you, Jenna.
Thanks, Aaron. On Monday night, Macklin Celebrini made history, becoming just the 6th teenager in the NHL to score 100 points. He joins the books alongside some of the greatest to ever play, such as Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby, and Mario Lemieux. But the most impressive statistic is that he ranks first among teenagers in point differential compared to the team's second leading scorer with 50 and percent of team offense with 46.3%. With his 2 goals and assist in the game, Celebrini now has 101 points. He'll look to improve that number tonight when the Sharks take on the Anaheim Ducks. After last night's playoff finals, the 2026 Men's World Cup is officially set. Both Sweden and Turkey advanced in regulation, with Sweden taking down Poland 3-2 and Turkey knocking out Kosovo 1-0. Czechia and Denmark would have had to go to penalties, but decided, where the Czechs advanced 3-1 on penalties. The most surprising game came from Zenica, where the 4-time champions in Italy became the first former winners to miss out on 3 consecutive World Cups. Despite striking first, a red card in the 41st minute would prove costly to the Italians. They would go on to lose 4-1 in penalties to Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's all for your sports update. After the break, Liv Anderson has the greatest and latest in the world of entertainment. Stay tuned.
Penn State Network News is a student-produced, bi-weekly live news show featuring all student talent.
From local and national news to sports, entertainment, weather, and live interviews, we have it all.
We also feature student-made packages from across campus.
Airing every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m.
We are PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Liv Anderson with your entertainment update. Student leaders of Penn State's Center for Performing Arts are bringing pop-punk band The Paradox to Eisenhower Auditorium tonight. The Atlanta-based band has gained viral attention on TikTok after performing their track, Do Me Like That, in a backyard. The Paradox made history as the first all-black punk band to reach #1 on the Billboard Alternative chart. The event reflects student leaders' goal of bringing more diverse, unheard voices to campus. Penn State Student Programming Association and Opulence are bringing drag superstars Bianca Del Rio and Alyssa Edwards to campus this Saturday, April 4th. The RuPaul's Drag Race fan favorites will deliver a show-stopping evening of performances and comedy. The annual drag show will take place in Alumni Hall at 7:30 p.m. Organizers say the event celebrates self-expression and LGBTQ+ culture. Admission is free for attendees. Speaking of student-hosted events, Andrew Plotnick had a chance to check out a different kind of performance. Andrew?
Thanks, Liv. Last week, I attended Country Night, which was a fundraising event planned by Penn State hospitality management students. Let's take a look. Last Wednesday at the Marriott Foundation building, hospitality management students hosted Country Night. Anyone was welcome, and all proceeds went to Center County United Way.
It's Country Night here at the Marriott Foundation building, where hospitality management students put together an event with a ton of volunteers coming to teach line dancing, arts and crafts, and there are a ton of different food options available for anyone who wants to come to this event, from the community, from the school. It doesn't matter. Everyone is welcome here, and let's check out this event.
Featuring the event was line dancing that was taught by instructors. Multiple people volunteered to teach it to the ones in attendance eager to experience line dancing in all its glory. The lead instructor explained why she loves line dancing so much.
I love it. Love every minute of it. The people are in a good mood. They just want to let loose from their crazy day. It's just so much fun. It's a great time.
Southern cuisine, cookies, and beverages were offered as well for everyone in attendance. Attendees also had the opportunity to make charm bracelets and decorate cowboy hats. The entire thing was able to work because of volunteers, and there was lots of excitement from the event planners with how everything turned out.
Gosh, it's the best. It's the best feeling. I love doing events for that reason. And seeing everyone show up tonight was really great too.
Students who planned this event are all enrolled in hospitality management's advanced meeting and event management class. The professor of the class talked about what impressed her regarding the execution by her students.
How well they did with their marketing. I think they picked a theme that's really in right now, and we've gotten a really good response. So I'm really excited to see that we have over 80 tickets sold tonight.
Country Night concluded with the announcement that over $900 was raised in support for Center County United Way. For PSN News, I'm Andrew Plotnick. All hospitality management students have the opportunity to sign up for this vibrant event planning class in their time at Penn State. Back to you, Liv.
Thanks, Andrew. Rapper Megan Thee Stallion is recovering after a health scare on Broadway last night. The artist was hospitalized after becoming ill mid-performance in Moulin Rouge the musical. A spokesperson for the rapper says she was taken to a local hospital where doctors are evaluating her condition. The show was temporarily paused before an understudy stepped in to complete the performance. This incident comes just 1 week after the star's debut, and no information has been provided yet on her return. The Oscar-winning animated film Happy Feet is dancing its way to the Broadway stage. Tony Award-winning producer Dory Bernstein announced yesterday that a musical adaptation is now in development, nearly 20 years after the original film's release. The story will follow Mumble, an emperor penguin, on a life-changing adventure, featuring songs from the movie along with new music. Two-time Tony winner Michael Arden is set to direct. That is all for your entertainment update. Coming up next, interview anchor Samuel Levin will be speaking with Owen Gilbert about his trip to Argentina over spring break. Stay tuned.
Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night.
all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.
Ready, mics? 3, 2, fade in on 2, mic and cue.
This is Nittany Talk.
Like us to make these shows out there.
I would say spring.
Slow down.
And he knew that. How do you say
I know.
She continues to hold her values and everything though. And I think that that's really important. So yeah, and self-care Saturday.
And you lose a lot of sleep.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News.
Penn State Network News is a student-produced, bi-weekly live news show featuring all student talent.
From local and national news to sports, entertainment, weather, and live interviews, we have it all.
We also feature student-made packages from across campus.
Airing every Monday and Wednesday at 7 p.m.
We are PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.
Hey everyone, welcome to Culture Central. My name is Jaden Stewart,
What's good, everybody? My name is Eric Pichardo, and we are your hosts
creators
and executive producers of Culture Central. Is this Whitney Houston?
We're doing things that have never been done before. So welcome to the family.
Hey everyone, we are Red Carpet News, your main source of entertainment news at Penn State University.
Man, this festival is going to be popping.
I'm Alex Porzillo, here with Aiden Harold.
He's going to 23rd with Daddy Elon Warbucks to actual space away from Kip.
So in sync, especially during Kendrick's part when they came out.
Reporting on anything from music, movies, TV shows, fashion, to celebrity gossip. You don't want to miss out on any of the hot topics we discuss.
Find our segments on YouTube under the name Red Carpet News for your daily dose of entertainment.
We are Red Carpet News.
If you don't include human beings, you cannot accurately model the way the climate has changed over the last 50 years.
And I don't know that we're ever going to be free of some sort of bug.
A natural state of motion for something to be in is to remain in its current state of motion.
Been lucky enough to discover various things out there. Pulsars, exoplanets, and some other phenomena that ended up being interesting.
Hi, I'm Johnson Gary with Asking Penn State.
With Asking Penn State,
Asking Penn State.
Asking Penn State. Asking Penn State.
Welcome back to Asking Penn State.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Samuel Levin. Tonight I'm joined by Owen Gelber, who is in COM 402, which is an international reporting class. This class covers underrepresented countries where you get to report on them, and this year you got to go to Argentina.
Yeah, Argentina, it was awesome. Previous years, like I told you before, they've gone to Kazakhstan, Estonia. Next year's country is not announced yet. I'm hoping to maybe be involved with that class next year. We'll see. But Argentina was the spot for this year, and it was a ton of fun. It was very eye-opening, but also Argentina, beautiful country. It was a great time.
Awesome. And not many people, when they're studying journalism, or in your case, broadcast journalism, get the opportunity to cover not only, different categories, but a totally different country. So what was it like to cover not only a country, but an underreported on country?
Yeah, listen, this was my first time kind of reporting internationally to begin with. I would bet a lot of the class it was the same way. But it's a little bit more challenging and different when you're in a country that's not a native English-speaking country, especially as English-speaking students. So we were relying heavily, I'm sure you know Ryan Lowy, he was a Spanish-speaking student with us. So we relied on him pretty heavily. He was translating a bunch for us. We had some other students in the class who also spoke Spanish. But when you have to kind of utilize that middleman to translate not only what you're saying, but the responses of your interviewees, it sometimes, things break down in the middle. So you kind of have to rely on them pretty heavily to just be listening intently and to get your point across. But other than that, it was just very unique. I think people are not too accustomed with American students coming down to a place like Buenos Aires, even though it is the capital and it's a very big tourist hotspot. I think international journalism to begin with is not a typical thing for them. So having them get used to us, getting used to them, it was a unique, thing to kink out.
Right, and that sounds like an amazing opportunity. Now, the story you covered has something to do with sports, and sports broadcasting is your passion, the thing that gives you your spark. But what was it like to merge sports, covering a great story in Argentina and the journalism passion all together?
Yeah, so it was a pretty cool opportunity. Something I've never really done before was combining my two passions, which is sports and just kind of people. I work sports in different roles here at Penn State. I've done different people-related things, but never really combined them. So when I was planning on applying for this class, I was thinking about Argentina. You think Lionel Messi, Diego Maradona, two massive soccer names. But I'm like, I feel like this is not enough to just report on. I'm going abroad to a different country. Yeah, everyone knows soccer is a big thing in Argentina. That's not the news story. So I started doing some research, and I was figuring out very quickly that the organizations they have, they call them Club de Barrios or almost neighborhood organizations. They're not just the soccer teams or the football organizations as you would have here in the US. They're quite literally like a lifeline for families down there. I found out that prior to President Milei, who's in office now, about 30% of players and families involved in these organizations relied on them for some sort of food, safety, home security, which is still a significant number. 30% is still pretty big. But now with the current administration and the inflation and the cost of living, that number is now 75%.
Wow.
So I was able to get some really impactful stories, some really impactful sources, and just kind of get to the bottom of that. Yeah, soccer's a big thing, but it's almost secondary to what these organizations bring. It's bringing people opportunity, food on the table, and just an outlet away from crime, being on the streets, just crazy story I covered down there.
Right. And that's kind of the cool thing about sports. The beautiful thing about sports is that, it's bigger than just the game, the opportunities that it provides to families, in this case, this lifeline. It's quite incredible. Now, for you, stepping out of your comfort zone and not just reporting on scores of the games or, who is the best player, but actually reporting on the impact that the sport makes on them. What did it mean to you to go and do that?
It meant a ton, quite honestly. Before I left for Argentina, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. And I'm very happy things unfolded the way that they did. I wouldn't say I was in the shape I necessarily wanted to be in getting down there in terms of having all my interviews set up, all the locations I was going to. I actually kind of let the stories make themselves. Right. I was just interacting with different people on the street, getting to know them. First day I was down there, we actually had an assignment, and it was to complete a TikTok. I just said, you know what? I'm going to go stand in the city square and just start juggling a soccer ball and see who wants to join me. And that's what I did. But then I wound up meeting these people over the couple of days that I was there. And one of those that was the most impactful, this guy, Dario Vaccarini, he's from this place called La Paternal, Argentina. That's actually where Diego Maradona played back in the day. And I don't necessarily have a city to compare it to here in the US, but it's a very low income area, very poverty stricken area, and somewhere that, if you're a parent back home listening to your student from Penn State going abroad, somewhere that maybe you don't necessarily want to hear somebody going. And that to me, it just was very eye-opening. I felt, I hear all these things in the news. I look up the town on my phone, and it's all these bad things. But then I got there, boots on the ground, and everyone there is just welcoming. They're kind of opening their resources to me. There was a soup kitchen going on. I was offered soup. That was for the people who are struggling. I'm there to tell their stories. And they treated me like one of their own. I got to know them as people, as athletes, as coaches, and just the sheer amount of welcoming that was done was very eye-opening.
And did you expect, the culture of these Argentinians to really accept you guys coming in, students with these cameras ready? You want to pick apart their lives. It's, the journalistic, view that you guys are going to do. So did you expect, the comfort and the love that you got?
Honestly, no, I did not. Like I said, we were all English speaking in the class, and we're going to a place that doesn't really speak a ton of English. And you think of New York City or Philadelphia, some of the lower income areas there, you walk up to somebody, even in the US with a camera or just saying you're a journalism student, chances are someone's going to tell you they don't care and tell you to kind of, go away. But I was able, like I said, this is one of the worst areas of the capital city where there's quite literally a line wrapped around the block for people waiting for food. But when they found out kind of what I was doing, that I wanted to help share their story, it was wonderful. I was able to talk to great people, and some of the sound bites and video, it's super impactful and emotional. And I'm super excited to put the piece together.
And did this opportunity change the way that you want your broadcast career to go, from the aspect of, like I just said, not just telling the scores and the stories on the court, on the ice, on the field, but, the stories off of it and, what sports does for communities?
Definitely. I definitely want to continue down the path where I'm combining sports and human. I'm a very naturally just empathetic person. I like to hear about people and their stories. So that's what I'm planning on doing down the road. I just had a guest speaker the other day in my Com 412 class speaking about, the impacts of CTE and mental illness with athletes. And it really is a huge, huge thing. And just apart from the medical or the brain trauma of athletes, you also got to learn about where they're from, their background, their upbringing, kind of what made them who they are, where they came from. And there's just so many people, this is what the class is made for, that are just underreported on. You don't know a ton about them. And this really gives that exposure. And I think it's a really cool twist on sports, apart from just telling the scores, like you said.
I love that. And that just made me excited to maybe do something like that sometime in the future. Well, Owen, thank you so much for joining us tonight and telling us more about your experience with international reporting. Now, stick around, because coming up next, Jennae and Lauren will have the latest news from across the nation.
Ready, Mike? 3, 2, fade in on 2, Mike and Q.
This is Nittany Talk.
I would say spring.
Close down.
And he knew that. How do you say
I know.
She continues to hold her values and everything though. And I think that that's really important. So yeah, self-care Saturday.
And you lose a lot of sleep.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to Culture Central. My name is Jaden Stewart.
What's good, everybody? My name is Eric Pichardo, and we are your hosts,
creators,
and executive producers of Culture Central. Is this Whitney Houston?
We're doing things that have never been done before. So welcome to the family.
If you don't include human beings, you cannot accurately model the way the climate has changed over the last 50 years.
And I don't know that we're ever going to be free of some sort of bug.
A natural state of motion for something to be in is to remain in its current state of motion.
Been lucky enough to discover various things out there. Pulsars, exoplanets, and some other phenomena that ended up being interesting.
Hi, I'm Johnson Gary with Asking Penn State.
With Asking Penn State, Asking Penn State.
Asking Penn State. Asking Penn State.
Welcome back to Asking Penn State.
A Florida judge ruled that Alligator Alcatraz officials must give detained people better access to their attorneys on Friday. This comes after attorneys filed statements claiming their clients couldn't reach them by phone and the attorneys couldn't make unscheduled visits. The judge says the state-run detention facility must provide one telephone per 25 people and access to free and confidential legal calls. Alligator Alcatraz was built last year to support President Donald Trump's immigration agenda. A U.S. Secret Service agent was injured after accidentally shooting himself at the Philadelphia International Airport. Authorities say the agent, who is assigned to protect former First Lady Jill Biden, fired his weapon during what's being described as a negligent discharge Friday morning. Officials say the incident happened just before 9 a.m. while the agent was in an unmarked vehicle. Jill Biden was not in the area at the time. The agent was taken to a local hospital and is reported to be in stable condition. Officials say the incident did not impact airport operations. Crowds gathered across the U.S. Saturday to protest the war in Iran and President Donald Trump. Organizers said more than 3,100 protests took place across all 50 states. More than a dozen countries in Europe joined the effort as well. In State College, more than 2,000 people gathered at Old Main, according to the Center Daily Times. Demonstrators protested recent ICE raids in the area, as well as U.S. involvement in Iran. NASA's crew of 4 astronauts launched successfully at 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time Wednesday evening. After taking off from Florida, Artemis is the first crewed mission to travel to the moon since 1972, but the crew will not touch down. The 10-day mission will send the crew around the moon before returning to Earth for a Pacific Ocean landing. Now over to Lauren Perry with the latest in international news.
Thanks, Lauren. I'm Lauren Perry with your international news update. President Donald Trump is facing pushback from European allies after reaching out for military support. Many nations have offered limited defense backing, but most are advocating for de-escalation and rejecting the U.S. request for additional access to bases and missile defense deployments. Italy has also denied the U.S. permission to land an aircraft at a military base in Sicily. An Italian defense spokesperson confirmed the denial, signaling a firm stance from European partners. A violent gang attack is in its 3rd day in Haiti. Armed groups are targeting and killing innocent civilians and burning homes. Officials say dozens have died and thousands have been forced to flee the region. The attacks started Sunday and have spread throughout several areas in the country. There is video footage showing families and children escaping with nothing from their homes. Authorities have confirmed 16 deaths, while activist groups say the number could be around 70 as of Monday. The violence comes ahead of an international force expected next month to help restore order. That's all for your international news update. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Lauren. That concludes our show tonight at PSN News. Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News. Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.